Hello, dear friends. In this video, we are going to see about the next content, some more details about generative AI. In the previous video, I gave some of the introduction about generative AI. In this video, we are going to see little more details about generative AI. So already we have learned what is generative AI. So using generative AI, we can able to develop new content, new images, new video, new audio. We can even able to generate codes. We can able to find new patterns, everything. So that is what generative AI is. We saw in the previous video what is traditional AI and how this generative AI is differing from this traditional AI and all these things we saw in the previous video. So please watch the previous video as well. So this are all generative AI models are all of type of deep learning. As we know that AI, under AI we have machine learning, under machine learning we have deep learning, under deep learning we have generative AI. So this generative AI models are of deep learning algorithms. So these algorithms are capable of generating new data similar to the one which we use to train the model of this generative AI algorithms. So, what are the key characteristics of this generative AI means? So, the first one is content creations. So, if you, as we discussed already, so this traditional AI, most probably this machine learning and all, can do only analysis, classification, or predictions. So, we know already we have trained with known data and the labels. So it could be able to only analyze and classify. But in generative AI, it will help us to create new content. And also the second characteristics of generative AI is it could able to learn the patterns from the training data. So since it is learned patterns, it could able to generate a new novel output similar to the pattern which it has learned from the trained data. So by which this generative AI models are pre-trained. And the next one is multi-modal. That is another key characteristics of generative AI, which could able to work not only with images or video. So it could able to work with text or image, audio, video, code, whatever it can be. So it can able to work with multiple models. So that is what another key characteristics of this generative AI. So next we are going to see about so as we know that it is able to generate new content, so it could able to generate new stories, so that it belongs to text, it could able to generate image, it could able to generate audio, video. So all these things are can be done through generative AI. But in traditional AI, it could able to only analyze or classify or predict. It cannot able to generate a new content. So if you see traditional AI, it's like a calculator. It gives the correct answer. So tomorrow will it rain or not? Does this person have this disease or not? So can I give loan to this customer or not? So like that, the traditional AI can do. But what is generative AI means it could able to generate new things, new content, which may not be already available. It is like a creative writer. So in what are the areas this generative AI is popular means? So why this generative AI is popular? Because of its data availability, and it has so many good transformer architectures are there, which we'll be discussing in upcoming next videos. And it is a self-supervised learning. So we know in traditional AI we have supervised learning, but here it is a self-supervised learning. So since it is also trained in billions of parameter, it could able to scale up also. So these are some of the important points about this generative AI. So let us discuss about the type of generative AI models. So some of the types of generative AI model, as we know, it could able to generate new content from the patterns it has learned during the training. So the sum of types of generative AI is text to text. So we know ChatGPT is an example. We give a prompt as a text and we get back the again a text as a output, and a text to image. So we may be used. You might have an experience in working with DALI, where we just give the input only in the text format. But in the previous video also, I show a small demo, just giving a prompt, it created as a video also, right? So stable diffusion, Yana banana, all these are some of the examples of generating the image. And also next one is text to audio. So it could able to generate audio clips and music from the text. So I will give the input as a text and it could able to generate as a new audio. Some of the examples are jukebox, audio ML, music gen. All these are examples which could help us to generate an audio when I give text as a input. Similar to that, we also have models that could able to generate video content. So that is text to video. And then the example for that is Panic and EMU videos. Then next one is text to speech. So it could able to synthesize the speech audio from the input text. So it could able to create a speech. So the examples are WaveNet and Chakatron. And the next one is speech to text. So it could able to recognize our speech and then it could able to answer back. So that is what we call it as automatic speech recognition. So the example model for that are whispers and speech GPT. Then image to text. So we may be giving input and then from the image we can able to ask some questions. So the model could able to generate image, and then from the image it could able to generate the text as well for that image. And then image to image, so here we can able to do some transformation to our model, like changing the resolution, changing the style, painting and all those things. The next one is text to code. So when you give a text as a input, it could able to generate the code for that. So I hope we all have an experience of using that. And then video to audio. So this model will analyze the video and it to able to generate audio for it. So Soundify is an example for that. So these are some of the important types of generative AI. So if you want to see the summary of it, text to text means when you give a question, it will give the answer. So this examples are all given here. Llama, GPT, Claude, Palm, all these are text to text. Text to images, when you give a text prompt as an input, it will generate a image. So example is DALI, stable diffusion, image and all these things. Then so text to code, alpha code and image to text. So the clip OpenAI, these are all some of the examples. And the next one is predictive model versus generative model. So predictive model is like machine learning. All are examples of predictive model. So what this predictive model will do is it look at the past data and then it will generate the predict the known outcome. For example, we may be training our model with already available past data. So for example, I'm training a model to do the weather prediction. So by known data, so when I give a new data, it could able to predict will it rain tomorrow or not. So what will happen is a kind of predictive models. But if you compare this predictive model with generative AI, so predictive model will predict an answer. Will it rain or not? Does this person have this problem or not? All this. But generative AI helps to create a new content. And similarly, in predictive model, we know what will be the output. But in generative, it's open-ended. It will, that's what the novel content can be created. In predictive model, we'll say whether it will rain or not, or will the student will pass or fail. But in generative AI, it will write essay for us, new content. And predictive model will do prediction, analysis, classification, regression. But generative AI will create new image, new content, new kind of code according to the input requirement, all these things. So examples of prediction model already I have told you, like it will predict whether this mail is a ham mail or a spam mail, whether this person have a disease or not, price prediction, credit risk classification. All these are example of predictive models like ML models, machine learning. But generative AI means it could able to generate new image, new content, new answers, new code, new video, new synthesized music, all these things. Okay, so this are all about predictive model and the generative AI model. Okay, so why this generative AI model is matters a lot means so in olden days to do all this thing we don't have enough computation power or the resources, but we can able to do all these things. We can able to train a model with billions of parameters because we have increased computing power. That's one reason. So now the GPU power, GPU is so powerful. We have good GPUs, we have TPUs, we have cloud resources. All this paved a way for this generative AI. And the next one is we have data set. No, plenty of data set is there. That is another reason why we can able to generate AI matters a lot. Then algorithmic in innovations. So we will discuss in other videos like transformer architecture. So how this transformer architecture is better than the already traditional models. So how it could able to understand the context. So in previous models, it is like sequential, one after other. It could able to do anything sequentially. But here, because of the algorithmic innovation, we can able to do things parallelly at a stretch we can able to do. So that all, so that's the transformer models shows the example for this algorithmic innovations. Transfer learning, it's also because of transfer learning we could able to only change only the required part. We can able to already use the trained model which is already available. And then the economic feasibility, since the hardware cost has been reduced drastically, it is a very good thing that we could able to do use this generative AI in a very better way, and the training time is reduced. So earlier, because of the computational problem, it will take days together, but now because of the good computational facility, everything can be done very faster way, very quickly. So this are all made a way for this generative AI. So in generative AI, one of the part is large language model. So we learn no text to text. So this large language model is one of the deep learning model. So we already know generative AI is a type of deep learning. So in deep learning, large language model is one of the deep learning model which is trained with billions of parameters, which is massive amount of data is used to train this large language model. The well-known model is GPT, So it able to understand, could able to generate and it could able to reason with human language. So it need not be so grammatically correct, syntactically correct, nothing like that. So it could able to understand the human language, and it could able to generate, or it could able to predict the next tokens in a sequence. So this is the speciality of large language model. So simply speaking, so large language model is one of the type of generative AI. So it is basically a deep learning model which is trained with billions of parameters, that is massive amount of data, which it could able to generate the new thing. It could able to understand human language, and it could able to, so language model means it could able to predict the next token in sequence. So we can call this large language model as LLM. So why it is large? Because it is trained with a large amount of data, so that you could able to learn how humans use the language. It could understand our language, and it could able to answer, explain, and generate text. But we should understand here the speciality of this large language. Unlike predictive model, it doesn't it is not like predictive model. It doesn't do any memorization of answer. It just learn the pattern by which it is trained, and it could be able to generate new content. That is the speciality of this large language model. So why it is called large? Because as I told, the model size is very big. So if you see in GPT-2, it is trained with 1.5 billions of parameters. In GPT-3, it is trained with 175 billions of parameters. If you see Llama, it is trained up to 70 billion. So this is how this model is trained with massive amount of data. That's why we call it as large. So the model size is also a key capability for this model to perform better. The next one is training data size is also large. The parameters also large. Data size, which means it is trained with all kind of books, websites, articles, code. So the training data is also large. So that is why it is also called as large. And the next one is computational power used for that is also large. Large GPUs, TPUs, distributed training. So that is why we call LLM as large language model. So the key point under that is it could able to predict the next tokens in sequence. So for example, if I say artificial intelligence is changing the, what will be the next token coming after the, it could be the world, it could be a possible thing is industry, future way. So the artificial intelligence is changing the future, so it could able to predict the next token based on the probability. So so who is more suitable, whose probability is more suitable for this particular sentence will be replaced as a will be taken as the next token. That's what will be happening. So it will predict the next token. So all this assignment is done based on the probability. So most likely token will be chosen and it will be replaced in this place. So it is going to only predict the next token again and again. That is how we could able to get a big essay. That is how we could able to answer our questions. That is how it could able to generate the code. All because of predicting the next tokens. And based on the learning it happened to it, because it is not going to memorize anything. Everything is based on the pattern it learned from that. Okay. So LLM is one of the model of generative AI. The next important thing, another model is transformer model. So this is also again a deep learning neural network model. So it could also understand, understand. It could also able to generate sequence of text also. So transformer model is there for text. Transformer model is also there for audio, video, code generation, everything. Transformer model is available that we are going to see in the next video. So it could able to read a sentence, it may be a figure or whatever it may be, and then it will be like the specialty inside this transformer model is attention or self-attention techniques. So that could able to relate one another and it could able to give a better answer. So LLM may be using this transformer architecture inside. So inside the transformer architecture, we have a self-attention mechanism, and this LLM is also, as we discussed, it has large number of parameters. It has massive text data by which it could able to understand our language. Then it could able to predict the next token. Finally, we get the generated text, which is a novel content which may not be already available. So now let us compare this LLM with transformer. So already we know LLM is a large model built using this transformer. So transformer is not only for LLM, that is for text to text. It is available for all the other kind of generation like audio, video, music, like we can say code, anything. So LLMs are transformer based models, and this LLM use the transformer model for their functionality, for their workings. So LLMs like GPT, Llama, Claude, every LLMs kind of all are using this transformer based model, because it is inside the transformer model we have a very significant functionality or mechanism called attention based transformer. So, as already told, transformer is a neural network architecture. It is using attention, which will help us to understand the relationship between words in a sentence. So transform, unlike like we know before transformer, we some months ago, or we can say before transformer, we may be using RNN, LSTM. So there are some problems in this RNN and LSTM, recurrent neural network, long short memory. So in all this problem is it could able to only remember only like short things. It cannot able to remember the older content. It cannot able to remember long sentence. So they could able to read word by word in order, and then it could able to predict the next thing. It doesn't remember the long sequence. So also this models like RN and LSTM is also slow. It is also find difficult to understand long paras. So, for example, if you see this example, the student who studied hard and practice daily finally passed the exam. So, the old model, if I have a very big sentence, the old model cannot understand or it cannot remember who passed, who studied, all this thing it cannot remember. But transformer is not like that because of its attention mechanism used in the transformer model. It can have attention, means it could able to have the complete context understanding. So that is what the main advantage of this transformer model. So it could able to transform the raw text into a meaningful understanding, not only short thing. The entire context understanding will be there. So that is why we call it as transformer. So it will transform the words into a context aware representation. The full understanding about the context will be there for this transformer. So this transformer, as I told you, is using a mechanism called attention. So attention means it could able to identify all the important words instead of reading one word at a time, like the previous models like RN and LSTM will be working. So here the important thing, attention means it will be finding the important words. Self attention means it will find the relationship between the important words. So transformer use self attention mechanism to capture the relationship between words in long context, not only in the short context. So that is how it's that is the speciality of this transformer model. So it read all the words at a time and it will understand the relationship between the words. So it could able to find the important words using attention, and then it could able to relate all those words for the long context. That's how it could able to remember and it could able to perform very well. So each words look at other words in the same sentence to understand its meaning. So that is what self attention. So LLM is one of the model of generative AI. This LLM is using transformer model. This transformer model use attention, so which find the important words. Then this attention is having self attention, which means it finds a relationship between all the important word in a larger context. So that is the speciality. So here is an example. The student who studied hard passed the exam. So he can understand, okay, the important word student, and they passed, they studied hard. So this kind of relationship can be easily maintained. And so when reading, it will remember the important words instead of just blindly reading it. So it can understand the important words and the relationship between other words. That's the speciality of this transformer models. So it can remember who passed, why they passed, who passed, student passed, why they passed, they studied hard, that's why they passed. This is how they understand the important keywords as well as their relationship. So it may ignore the less important words like who, the, and all. So same, that's the same thing automatically it will do. So here is another example. The cat sat on the mat because it was tired. So we have two things, cat and the mat. So what does it represent? Does it represent the mat or does it represent the cat? So the transform model can easily understand it refers to the cat because it is not like a sequence it is doing. It could able to understand using self attention mechanism. It could find the important words and the relationship between in the particular context. So that is what the speciality. So transformer model can understand the long sentence, understand the context. It could able to connect the distinct word. It could able to read the entire para together. But in the older model, it will forget the long context and all. It is slow sequential processing. So that's how the transformer model stands. And then how we will train this LLM model? What is happening in the pre-training phase? So as we know, as we saw earlier, this transformer model are trained with a large amount of data. It can be a book, it can be Wikipedia, it can be from website. So here we saw like what are the ways it is trained: books, website, articles, code, repository. So this are all the way it is already trained with a large, massive amount of data. So there is no nothing called labels or class. So LLMs are pre-trained with large corpora of self-supervised learning. And then, for example, there is no class called class, no labeling and all. For example, if I have a sentence, A is transforming healthcare. So how does it do? A is transforming, and the next target where it want to find is the next healthcare. So the A is a text. So transforming may be the next target. Then A is transforming maybe the text. Then healthcare become the target. This is how it will be doing. So the sentence itself is a label. The next word it want to predict is the target. So there doesn't specifically it doesn't have labels or doesn't have target class. So the LLMs learn the grammar, facts, reasoning patterns, common sense, everything it could able to understand. The full context is understood because of the self-attention mechanism. So what are the things are happening for this to happen is first thing is tokenization. So tokenization means what? Breaking the text into tokens. So for example, if I have a text called ChatGPT is powerful. So chat, GPT is powerful. These are all the tokens powerful from this particular text. So the tokens can be a word or it can be a part of a word or it can be a symbol. So all these things can be called as tokens. So first in thing happens here is it will break the text in the input text into tokens. So LLM is going to work on the tokens, not on the raw text as such. And the next thing is, so whenever we give a prompt, it is token. It is doing tokenization. We call it as tokenized. And then the model will predict the next token, and that token will be added to the next here as we saw here. That model will be taken to the label, and then it will predict the next target. So that's how it will be continuing. So that token is added to the context, and this process will be keep on repeating again and again. So text generation is an iterative process. So as I told here, so it will first predict a, for example, AI is, and then it will predict transforming. Then this transforming will also we together consider as a text. So AI is transforming, then it will predict healthcare. So this process will be keep on repeating. It's an iterative process. So LLM does not play like it doesn't plan the entire answer at a stretch. So it will plan one token at a time. But it does it iteratively very quickly. So it seems to be like it is generating everything at a stretch. But internally, what happens is it could able to predict the next token one by one. So this is how a transformer model is coming. So whenever we give a prompt, that is your input sentence, and then it will do the attention calculation. What is attention calculation? It will find all the important words, and then at self attention. What is self attention? It will find the relationship between those important words, the meaning, the context, the relationship between one another word. So that is how the transform model is working. So in the older models like RNN, LSTM, it will be working word by word. But in transformer, it will read the whole sentence. And in older model, the memory is weak. But in the transformer model, it is strong. Because it is understanding the context. Older model is slow. Transform model is very fast. And the older model cannot remember the full context, but transformer model could able to understand the context because it find the important words and its relationships. So transformer model is the reason why we have this modern AI that could able to understand the human language, and it could able to generate a new content. So these are some of the popular LLMs which we have. There are many different kinds of LLMs. LLMs means large language model. So text to text, we have text generation. So we have many popular LLMs. So depending upon the need, this we can able to use the different LLMs. So if you want to go for GPT models like OpenAI's GPT models, whenever it is general purpose, general kind of answer you want, or you want a strong reasoning, and you want to generate a text or a code or a summarization or an explanation, you can go for GPT kind of LLMs. And you can go for Google Sparm when you want an efficient answer or if you want a multilingual answer. And you want a strong mathematical and logical kind of answer, we can go for Form. And we have Meta's Llama model. It's open source model. It's good for research and for fine tuning. In those cases, you can go for Llama model. And we have Anthropic's Claude. It is very good for ethical considerations. So whenever you want to align your application with the ethical reasoning and you want a understanding of long context and you want to focus on safety in all those cases, you can go for this kind of LLM like Claude. So and now I hope you got little more understanding of generative AI. So what are the capabilities of this generative AI? In that particularly we saw about LLMs, no? So it could be able to do the text generation, question answering, code generation, summarization, all these things can be done in LLMs. So what are the limitations of LLM is, so here hallucination is a very important consideration. So what is hallucination? If you ask ChatGPT, whatever may be the question, if you ask it will answer. So once I have an experience, I ask, can you give me 1465 Tirukural? We don't have such Tirukural, but it gave me the answer. So that is what hallucination. It give us the answer. If it doesn't know, also it doesn't say I don't know, but it'll give like a real answer, but it may be wrong. So that is what hallucination is. That is one of the limitation of LLM. And no true understanding it may, because every time it is going to predict the next tokens only. So it is all based on how the particular model is trained. Based on that, it will predict and generate a new things. So this is what some of the understanding about generative AI. I hope you got some idea about what is generative AI. In generative AI, I hope you got some understanding about LLMs and different LLM model. What is the key techniques working behind LLM? So we have transformer model, which is a neural network concept working behind it. In the transformer model, we have important mechanism called self-attention. How self-attention is contributing when compared to the older models, and because of that, our LLM models are performing better with long context understanding. So in the next video, we'll be seeing about what is hallucination, how we can avoid hallucination, and what are the other different types of LLMs in detail. And also we are going to see about what are the different transformer models available. So hope you have understand all this concept. Thank you. God bless you.